Brace yourself for 6 incredible shark encounter stories that will grip your heart and leave you breathless. From terrifying attacks to miraculous survivals, these tales are packed with tension and bravery, transforming the ordinary beach day into a battle for life. In today's video, we're sharing incredible stories of shark encounters, from heart-pounding escapes to miraculous survivals. These tales will keep you on the edge of your seat. Get ready to be amazed by 6 incredible stories that will leave you in awe. Let's dive straight into the first story. Surfing with shadows. It was the summer of 2021, and the rugged coastline of South Africa, renowned for its towering waves and dense population of great white sharks, was teeming with life. Among the surfers chasing the perfect wave was a professional surfer and passionate ocean conservationist. This is the story of how a serene morning surf turned into a battle for survival. Testing the limits of human endurance and friendship had always felt at home in the water. For them, surfing was more than a sport. It was a way of life, a spiritual experience. That summer they had returned to their favorite spot, a secluded beach known for its epic swells and the occasional sighting of great white sharks. But this time the ocean had a surprise in store that would change their life. Forever was joined by their best friend, an equally skilled surfer with a laid-back attitude and an adventurous spirit. They had been surfing together for years, pushing each other to take on bigger and more challenging waves. On the shore, watching with a mix of admiration and concern, was their girlfriend, a marine rescue volunteer. She was familiar with the risks of the ocean, but always supported their passion. The sun was just rising, casting a golden glow over the water. The waves crashed rhythmically against the shore, creating the perfect backdrop for an exhilarating surf session. And their friend paddled out their boards, slicing through the water effortlessly. Little did they know, beneath the surface danger was lurking. As they caught wave after wave, the thrill of the ride filled them with an unparalleled sense of freedom. The ocean was their playground, and they were at the top of their game. But as the morning progressed, their friend on the shore noticed something unusual. The seagulls were restless, and the seals were nowhere to be seen. Her instincts told her something was off. She scanned the horizon, her heart pounding with an inexplicable sense of dread. Was riding the wave of their life, a massive swell that carried them with incredible speed. Just as they were about to carve a perfect turn, they felt a sudden violent tug on their leg. The force yanked them off their board and into the water. In that split second, world turned upside down. Underwater they saw it. The unmistakable shape of a great white shark, its jaws clamped around their leg. Pain shot through their body and panic surged. They kicked and thrashed, trying to free themselves. But the shark's grip was unyielding. Their friend saw the commotion and paddled furiously towards them, their heart racing. They reached their friend and without hesitation used their surfboard to strike the shark, aiming for its sensitive nose and gills. The shark released its leg momentarily, but it wasn't done yet. Blood filled the water, and the predator circled back, its predatory instincts kicking in. Would their friend's brave intervention be enough to save them from the shore? Their friend, witnessing the attack, sprang into action. She grabbed a rescue board and a first aid kit. Her training as a marine rescue volunteer taking over, she signaled for help and swam out to the injured. Her heart pounding with fear, weakened by blood loss and pain, clung to their surfboard. As their friends reached them together, they managed to lift them onto the rescue board. But the shark was still circling, its dark shape a constant threat. The three of them paddled furiously, every stroke a fight against the tide. And their growing exhaustion, the shark made several more passes. But their determination never wavered. Would they make it to shore before the shark struck again? The shore was agonizingly close, yet each meter felt like an eternity's. Vision blurred from the pain and blood loss. But they could hear their friends urging them to hold on. With a final desperate effort, they reached the shallows. Beachgoers, alerted by their call for help, rushed to their aid. Lifeguards pulled onto the sand and began administering first aid. Though barely conscious, felt a surge of relief. They had made it. They were alive, but the fight for their life was far from over. In the hospital, underwent multiple surgeries to repair the damage done by the shark's teeth. The recovery process was long and grueling, filled with moments of intense pain and deep uncertainty. Their girlfriend was by their side every step of the way, her love and support a constant source of strength. journey was not just physical, but emotional as well. The trauma of the attack haunted their dreams, and the fear of the ocean they once loved threatened to consume. Then months passed, and slowly, but surely, Spotty healed. We now go to story 2, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that button now so you don't miss any of the excitement ahead. The yacht tragedy. It was the summer of 2004, and the Caribbean Sea, with its vibrant marine life and crystal clear waters, was a paradise for sailors and adventurers. Among the luxurious yachts on the horizon was the Serenity, a floating palace of leisure and relaxation. This is the story of how a serene afternoon turned into a harrowing fight for survival, testing the limits of human endurance and friendship. Felt at home on the ocean. Sailing wasn't just a hobby for them. It was a passion, a connection to the sea's vast, untamed beauty. That summer, they invited their closest friends for a yacht trip to unwind and enjoy the pristine waters. Was joined by their best friend, Mark, a skilled sailor with an adventurous spirit, and Sarah's girlfriend, and a marine biologist. Her knowledge of the sea's wonders and dangers made her a valuable companion. She always supported passion despite understanding the risks. The day was perfect. Clear skies, calm seas, and a gentle breeze filling the sails of the Serenity. The friends laughed and reminisced, enjoying the tranquility of the open ocean. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the water, decided to take one last swim before dinner. They stood at the edge of the yacht, feeling the warmth of the setting sun on their skin. The water below was inviting, shimmering with the colors of the sunset. Without a second thought, they dove in, slicing through the water. With practiced ease, their friends cheered, raising their glasses in a toast to a perfect day. But as surfaced, something felt off. They looked back at the yacht, now a few meters away, and noticed the worried expressions on their friends' faces. Before they could react, a sudden jolt rocked the Serenity. The yacht had hit something submerged. Not enough to cause damage, but enough to send a shock through the water. In that moment of chaos, was pulled further from the yacht. Panic set in as they struggled to swim back. But the currents were strong, pulling them away. Their friends were shouting their name, their voices tinged with fear. Sarah's voice cut through the panic, calm but urgent. Her instincts told her something was wrong. She scanned the horizon, her heart pounding. With an inexplicable sense of dread, tried to steady their breathing. But the ocean was no longer a friendly playground. It had turned into a vast, indifferent expanse. And then they saw them. 3 dark shapes moving with terrifying grace just beneath the surface. Sharks. The first, a sleek silhouette, broke the surface briefly before disappearing again. Their heart pounded as they realized the danger they were in. The tension on the yacht was palpable. Mark and the others scrambled to get a rope to them. But the distance and the fear of attracting the sharks made every movement feel agonizingly slow. Swam for the life, ring thrown towards them, their eyes never leaving the dark shapes circling them. They grabbed the life ring just as the first shark made its move, a swift predatory lunge that sent a wave of fear crashing over them. They kicked out instinctively, managing to push the shark away. But the others were closing in. The second shark brushed against their leg. A cold, smooth touch that sent shivers down their spine. Pain shot through their body. As the shark's rough skin grazed them, they gripped the life ring tighter, pulling themselves towards the yacht with every ounce of strength they had. Sarah was leaning over the railing, her face pale with fear. The largest shark, a menacing figure, swam closer, its eyes dark, and unfeeling's mind raced. They had to stay calm, but how could they when death was circling them? Mark and another friend managed to get a rope to them, grabbed it, feeling a surge of hope. But just as they began to pull themselves toward the boat, the third shark attacked, its jaws closing around the life ring. The force nearly pulled them under. They kicked and thrashed, trying to free themselves from the deadly grip on the yacht. Their friends were shouting, pulling the rope with all their strength. It was a desperate 2-4 against nature. The sharks were relentless, their powerful bodies slicing through the water with ease, its vision blurred with exhaustion. Every muscle in their body screamed in pain, but they couldn't let go. They had to survive. They thought of Sarah, of the life they had planned together. They couldn't leave her, not like this. With a final desperate effort, they kicked free from the shark's grip. Their friends pulled them towards the yacht, their faces a mix of hope and horror. As they reached the side of the boat, strong hands grabbed them, hauling them out of the water. and into the safety of the yacht lay on the deck bloodied and bruised, their bodies shaking from the cold and shock. As breath grew shallow, each exhale a struggle against the agony, gripping their body, their friends surrounded them, their faces a mixture of hope and despair with a final ragged breath. Body relaxed, their pain ending, as they slipped away, the deck soaked with their blood bore silent witness to the tragedy. Their friends, now silent and grief-stricken, clung to each other, the weight of their loss sinking in the ocean vast and indifferent, rolled on, carrying away the echoes of last moments. Get ready for the third story. The photographer's last shot had always been drawn to the ocean, a force as powerful as gravity itself. As a child, they watched marine documentaries for hours, mesmerized by the underwater world's beauty and mystery. Their bedroom walls were covered with posters of coral reefs and sharks. It was no surprise when pursued a career as an underwater photographer. Dedication earned them a reputation. Their photos featured in magazines and exhibitions, capturing marine life's essence. Their latest assignment took them to Australia's renowned diving spots, aiming to capture the perfect shot of a great white shark in its natural habitat. Excitement and apprehension filled as they prepared for the expedition. They meticulously checked their equipment, especially their underwater camera, their most prized possession. The night before the dive, and their dive buddy Tom discussed the plan. Tom's calm demeanor and experience reassured them. At dawn, they gathered on deck, silently reflecting on the task ahead. The air was tense with excitement. Took a deep breath of the salty sea breeze, feeling a surge of adrenaline. Conditions were perfect. Excellent visibility and a prime location for great white sighting. Safety was their top priority. Stick together, follow procedures, trust their training. Slipping into the water, the cool embrace of the ocean enveloped them. Schools of fish darted around coral reefs, creating a mesmerizing display. Kept their camera ready, scanning for any sign of sharks. Their heart raced with anticipation. After what felt like an eternity, Tom signaled to, pointing ahead. They saw it. A massive silhouette gliding gracefully. The great white shark came into view, its presence commanding attention. Raised their camera, capturing every detail. The texture of its skin, the sharpness of its teeth, the intensity of its gaze. The shark circled them, curious, reviewed their shots, feeling satisfied, but wanting more. They signaled to Tom, indicating their desire to get closer. Tom hesitated, but trusted their instincts. They moved cautiously. The shark's curiosity turned to agitation. Heart skipped a beat. The shark's eyes, once curious, now burned with intensity. They began to back away slowly. The shark's body language was unmistakable. It was preparing to strike. Instincts kicked in, and they turned to swim towards Tom. The shark followed, its powerful tail propelling it forward. Breath came in sharp bursts. They felt a rush of water behind them, the predator closing in. Tom positioned himself between, and the shark brandishing a pole spear. The shark circled them, predatory and deliberate, clutched their camera, now a heavy weight in their hands. The shark lunged towards them. Tom thrust the pole spear forward, creating a barrier. The shark veered away, but circled back. Desperation gripped. They signaled to Tom, pointing to the emergency shark deterrent device. Tom reached for it, a small high-frequency emitter designed to repel sharks. Tom activated the device. The shark paused its movements, hesitant. The device worked, but only temporarily. Backing away slowly, they kept the shark in sight. Heart pounded. The boat seemed far away. The shark lunged again, with greater force. Tom's pole spear made contact, but it wasn't enough. The shark's jaws closed around Tom's leg. Horrifying crunch echoing through the water. Tom's scream was muffled by his regulator, his pain unmistakable. Panicked, they had to save Tom. Swimming towards the shark, they raised their camera like a shield. The shark released Tom, turning its attention to. Fear surged, but they stayed focused. They activated the strobe light on their camera, hoping to disorient the shark. The bright flashes illuminated the water. The shark hesitated, backed away, putting distance between themselves and the predator. They helped Tom towards the boat. The image of the shark's teeth sinking into Tom's leg haunted them. Tom's blood clouded the water. He struggled to keep moving. Eyes darted around, searching for the shark. The predator had vanished, but the threat remained. As they reached the boat, Tom's condition worsened. Climbed aboard, their limbs trembling. They laid Tom on the deck, applied a tourniquet to slow the bleeding, and radioed for help. Hands shook as they retrieved the first aid kit. Tom's eyes fluttered open, pain evident, reassured him they were getting him out. Tom's grip on their hand was weak even in pain. He asked about the photos, nodded, tears welling, telling him they had captured the shot. And he was amazing. Tom managed a faint smile. The helicopter arrived, medics swiftly loading Tom onto a stretcher. As the helicopter lifted off, felt relief, mixed with guilt. They had survived. But the cost was high. They sat on the deck, their body aching, their mind numb. Tom's condition remained critical, stayed by his side, holding his hand, urging him to stay strong, but deep down they feared the worst. As the helicopter reached the hospital, Tom's condition worsened. Despite the medics' best efforts, his injuries were too severe. Watched helplessly as Tom slipped away, his hand growing cold in theirs. Grief overwhelmed, they had lost their best friend, their dive buddy. The ocean, once their sanctuary, now felt like a place of sorrow. Prepare yourself for the most terrifying tale. Yet our fourth story is entitled The Last Party. It was a perfect summer afternoon off the coast of Southern California. The sun gleamed off the azure waves, and the air buzzed with the laughter and music from a lively boat party. Friends and family gathered on the deck, enjoying the gentle sway of the sea beneath them. This is where our story begins, with one young person whose life was about to take a terrifying turn. Was the life of the party. Their radiant smile and infectious laughter echoed across the boat as they danced and chatted with friends. The ocean was their playground. They grew up swimming, surfing, and feeling at one with the sea. Little did they know the ocean they loved so dearly had a cruel twist of fate in store for them. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the horizon with hues of orange and pink, the party reached its peak. Everyone was in high spirits, completely unaware of the lurking danger beneath the waves. It happened suddenly, without warning, a freak accident that no one could have predicted. A rogue wave, massive and powerful, struck the boat with immense force. The boat rocked violently, sending partygoers tumbling across the deck. Panic ensued as the vessel began to capsize. Amid the chaos, was thrown overboard, plunging into the cold, unforgiving ocean. The water churned around them as they struggled to stay afloat, their eyes wide with fierce. Friends shouted their name, desperately trying to locate them in the water. The once joyful atmosphere was now filled with screams and cries for help. As they fought to keep their head above water, felt a sharp, gut-wrenching pain in their leg. They looked down and their hearts sank. A dark, ominous shadow circled beneath them. It was a great white shark, its sleek body cutting through the water with terrifying grace. Mind raced as they tried to remember everything they had learned about sharks. Stay calm, don't thrash, but the pain was overwhelming, and panic began to take hold. They could feel the beast's powerful jaws tightening around their leg, dragging them deeper into the abyss. Above, the frantic shouts continued. Someone had managed to radio for help, and a rescue helicopter was on its way. But for the minutes felt like hours, they fought with every ounce of strength they had, kicking and pushing against the relentless predator. Blood clouded the water around them, a crimson plume that drew the sharks' insatiable hunger. The sound of the helicopter was faint at first, but it grew louder, cutting through the terror of the scene below. Friends waved and shouted, trying to guide the rescuers to their location. A rescue diver, equipped with a harness and life-saving gear, plunged into the water. Time was running out, vision blurred as they felt themselves growing weaker. The pain was excruciating, their strength fading with each passing second. Just as the diver reached them, they managed to lock eyes with him, a silent plea for help. But the shark was relentless, its grip unyielding. The diver struggled to secure them, the water thrashing around them. Both, in a final desperate act of defiance, summoned the last of their strength, pushing against the shark. One last time, the diver pulled them towards the surface. But it was too late. The helicopter's searchlight illuminated the scene, a stark contrast to the darkness below. Was lifted from the water, their friends and family watching in helpless horror from the boat. The once vibrant, joyous party was now a scene of tragedy and sorrow. The helicopter soared into the sky, carrying the brave young person who had fought so valiantly against the unforgiving ocean. The coast of Southern California was never the same after that day. The waves still crashed against the shore, and the sun still set in brilliant hues. But the memory of fight for survival lingered. They were a reminder of the unpredictable nature of the sea, the fine line between life and death, that we all tread. This was the story of bravery, of tragedy, and of the unyielding spirit of a young person who loved the ocean. It's a tale that reminds us of the fragility of life and the power of nature. The fifth story is titled A Mother's Sacrifice. This heart-wrenching tale is one you won't want to miss if you haven't subscribed, yet I highly encourage you to do so to stay updated with our upcoming videos. It was a bright, sunny morning in Hawaii, the kind that makes you forget all your worries. The sound of waves, the laughter of children, and the warm embrace of the sun created a paradise on earth. Among the many families soaking in the beauty of this tropical haven was a young mother and her son, a picture of joy and contentment. But beneath the calm surface, the ocean held a secret, a danger lurking in the depths. The young mother, full of life and love, had planned this vacation to create lasting memories with her son. The thrill of exploring the underwater world together brought them closer, each moment a treasure to cherish. They waded into the crystal-clear waters, unaware that this day would be etched in their minds for an entirely different reason. As they floated above the coral reef, marveling at the vibrant marine life, time seemed to stand still. The colors of the fish, the sway of the coral, and the giggles of her son painted a perfect moment. But in the distance, a shadow moved unnoticed by the blissful pair, a shadow that would shatter their peace and test her strength and resolve in the most unimaginable way. Without warning, the shadow materialized into a massive shark, its dark form contrasting sharply against the clear blue of the ocean. It moved with terrifying grace, a predator in its element. The mother's heart pounded in her chest as she caught sight of it, a primal fear gripping her entire being. She knew she had to act fast, but there was no time to think, only to react. In that split second, her world narrowed to one singular focus. Her son, the innocent face she adored, now tinged with confusion and fear, was all that mattered. She held him tight, shielding him with her own body, knowing the danger was closing in. Every motherly instinct screamed for her to protect her child, no matter the cost. The shark's approach was relentless, a nightmare unfolding in slow motion. The mother's mind raced with thoughts of survival, of escape. But the reality was grim. She could feel the water vibrate with the predator's powerful movements, its presence a dark force looming ever closer. The attack was brutal and swift. The shark's powerful jaws clamped down, and the serene waters turned into a swirling chaos of red and white. The mother's scream, muffled by the water, was a sound of pure terror and pain. Yet even in the throes of agony, her grip on her son remained unbroken, a testament to her unyielding love and courage. Despite the searing pain, the mother's thoughts remained on her son. She used every ounce of her strength to push him towards safety, her actions driven by a love so profound it defied the dire circumstances. She knew this might be the end, but her son's future was all that mattered. With one final desperate effort, the mother propelled her son towards a nearby rock, a fleeting chance for safety. The shark circled back, its cold, predatory eyes fixed on her. She knew what was coming, but her heart was at peace, knowing she had done everything she could for her son. The second attack was fierce, the water churning with violence as the shark's jaws closed around her once more. But her thoughts were no longer on her own pain. In her mind, she saw her son's face, safe and alive. Her sacrifice had not been in vain. As the onlookers rushed to the scene, the water now a haunting mix of red, they pulled the mother and her son to safety. The boy, shaken and crying, was cradled by strangers who had witnessed the tragedy unfold. Their hearts ached for the young mother who had given everything for her child on that fateful day in Hawaii. The ocean came close to claiming a brave soul, but her story is one of unimaginable courage and the boundless love of a mother. She survived her injuries and was honored with an award for her bravery in saving her son from a terrifying shark attack. Grateful for the miraculous outcome, she thanked God daily. However, she vowed never to set foot in the ocean again. The final story is about a lifeguard who endured the most excruciating ordeal in this entire video. Our sixth story is titled The Lifeguard's Sacrifice. It was a bright summer day in 2023, the kind that draws families and adventure seekers alike to the pristine beaches of Southern California. The golden sands stretched for miles, kissed by the gentle waves of the Pacific Ocean among the bustling crowd, was a dedicated lifeguard, whose watchful eyes scanned the horizon from their elevated post. The lifeguard had been in the profession for nearly a decade, and their love for the sea was matched only by their commitment to protecting those who enjoyed its beauty. Every day brought new challenges, but nothing could have prepared them for the life-altering events that would unfold on this particular afternoon. The beach was alive with laughter and joy. Children building sandcastles, teenagers playing volleyball, and families soaking up the sun, the water inviting and cool called to them like a siren song. But beneath its serene surface lurked a danger that none of them could see. As the lifeguards surveyed the shoreline, their trained eyes caught a movement that sent a shiver down their spine. Far out beyond the breakers, a dark shadow moved with an eerie grace. Their heart rate quickened. It was a shark, and it was heading straight towards a group of unsuspecting swimmers. Grabbing their binoculars, the lifeguard confirmed their worst fears. A massive great white shark was closing in on the swimmers. They had to act fast. Without hesitation, they grabbed their rescue board and sprinted towards the water, their whistle piercing the air. In a series of urgent blasts, the swimmers, confused by the sudden alarm, began to panic. As they noticed the lifeguard racing towards them, the lifeguard shouted at them to swim to shore, their voice filled with urgency. But the shark was moving too quickly, its dorsal fin now visible above the water, slicing through the waves with terrifying speed. The lifeguard paddled with all their might, their muscles burning, their mind focused solely on reaching the swimmers before the shark did. The distance seemed insurmountable, but they pushed themselves harder than ever before, fueled by adrenaline and a deep sense of duty. Time seemed to slow as the shark closed in on its prey. The lifeguard was almost there, just a few more strokes. The water around them churned as they kicked and paddled, each second feeling like an eternity. Finally, they reached the swimmers, their heart pounding. They urged them onto their rescue board, their voice calm but commanding. They scrambled on their faces, pale with fear. The lifeguard kept one eye on the shark, now circling them with predatory intent. With the swimmers safely on the board, the lifeguard began the arduous task of paddling back to shore. The shark followed, its presence a constant, ominous threat. The lifeguard could feel its eyes on them, could sense its hunger. Every stroke was a battle, every moment a fight for survival. The lifeguard's muscles screamed in protest, but they ignored the pain, focused solely on the shore that seemed so far away. The beachgoers watched in horror, their shouts of encouragement drowned out by the roar of the ocean. Then, with a sudden burst of speed, the shark attacked. It was a blur of motion, a force of nature unleashed. The lifeguard felt the impact as the shark struck, knocking them off the board. The water turned red, a stark contrast to the blue of the ocean. Underwater, the world was a chaotic swirl of bubbles and blood. The lifeguards struggled to orient themselves, their lungs burning for air. They kicked upwards, desperate to break the surface to breathe again. But the shark was relentless, its jaws snapping shut with bone-crushing force. Gasping for air, the lifeguard broke the surface, only to be pulled under again. The shark's teeth tore into them, and a searing pain shot through their body. They fought with every ounce of strength they had left, but they knew they were losing. The shore was so close, yet impossibly far. On the beach, the onlookers watched in horror, their cries for help mingling with the crash of the waves. Time stood still as they witnessed the struggle between person and beast, a primal battle that seemed both surreal and all too real. The lifeguard's strength was fading, their vision blurring, but they refused to give up. They thought of their family, their friends, the people they had saved over the years. They thought of the swimmers they had just rescued, now safe on the shore. They had to keep fighting, had to survive. Memories of their loved ones flashed before their eyes. Their mother's warm smile, their father's encouraging words, the laughter of their friends during their beach bonfires. These memories gave them a fleeting burst of energy, a final spark of hope. In a final desperate struggle, the lifeguard managed to break free. Just for a moment they kicked towards the surface, their hand reaching out towards the light. But the shark was not done. With one last savage bite, it dragged them down into the depths. The water grew calm, the frenzy subsiding. The onlookers stood in stunned silence. Reality of what had just happened sinking in. The lifeguard was gone, their bravery and sacrifice etched into their hearts forever. In the days following the tragedy, The community came together to honor the lifeguard's memory. One colleague recalled how the lifeguard had once saved a young child from a powerful current diving into the treacherous waters without a moment's hesitation. The lifeguard's story is a testament to the extraordinary courage of those who put their lives on the line to protect others. Thank you for watching these incredible 6 stories on our new YouTube channel Shark Quests. We have many more thrilling tales to uncover, so be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for the most spine-chilling adventures. What part of these incredible stories shocked you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more captivating tales.